council this evening in terms of resolutions. There are no bylaws for the consideration of council this evening. Therefore, I'll proceed with the mayor's report. Very briefly, I was thinking about this, and the mayor's report is for the period of September 9th through the 22nd, 2014. However, I have to tell you that I think this is the first report since my last meeting I attended, which was actually in July. And that was due to being out of the city on vacation or work-related activities, although I did attend all the meetings by conference call on October 18th and September the 8th. Just in terms of some of the major highlights over the summer I wanted to point out. In August, I attended the Northern Association Community Council's annual general meeting and trade show, and I did have an opportunity to provide greetings on behalf of the City of Thompson. I've always found it unique that NACC invites the City of Thompson to provide greetings at a convention held in Winnipeg, and it's not the only one that we do that at. But I think it recognizes the unique role that the City of Thompson plays in Northern Manitoba and the relationship that we have with Northern Affairs communities. So I do acknowledge and I thank Northern Association Community Councils for their invitation. I did have an opportunity to extend greetings, which I did, and encouraged a continued strong working relationship between NACC and the city. And I also had the opportunity to acknowledge the work that President Reg Mead has done over numerous years, and I was pleased to see that Mr. Mead was again elected as president of NACC for a new 3-year term. In addition, at the event, I did have an opportunity to meet privately with Minister Swan, Minister of Justice. We had a good conversation with respect to some of the outstanding issues that we have here in our community, one being the concerns that had been raised by the city with respect to prosecutions and staffing here in Thompson. The other with respect to some of the announcements pending in terms of some of the appointments that are coming from Justice, and the need to ensure that we have a full complement of those involved in the justice field, whether it's at the level of a judge or a prosecutor or any support staff. In addition, we had the opportunity to talk a little bit about the cadet program, and I know I'm not supposed to call it that. The cadet program's in Winnipeg. We're going to be the Community Safety Officer program. It has to be called something different because it's different legislation. We continue to work on that initiative. Minister Swan has certainly been supportive. It's taking a little bit longer than, quite frankly, I think any of us wanted, but it's fairly complicated in that it required new legislation by the province of Manitoba. He again committed to ensuring that we move forward on that. One of the other things that I did have an opportunity to do over the last little while is meet with some of the other ministers, both during time representing the city at other events as well as my workplace. I did have a very good conversation with Minister Bjornson, who is Minister of Housing, and specifically with respect to the anticipated support of the province of Manitoba on the seniors housing initiative. And I've always had an excellent working relationship, as has the City of Thompson, with Minister Bjornson. I anticipate that continuing. I believe we had reported on the meeting that we had with Minister Struthers previously with respect to the expansion of the boundaries of the City of Thompson into the LGD, and obviously the waste disposal site, and we'll continue to work on those initiatives. In terms of the last week, a couple things just to highlight. September 17th, I did attend the a meeting in Winnipeg. We were invited as the City of Thompson to make a presentation to the chief administrative officers of each of the Crown corporations here in Manitoba. So they have what is called the Crown Corporations Council. They asked if I would make a presentation with respect to some of the opportunities that they may see in northern Manitoba and in Thompson. I can tell you that we had a very good conversation. There is a tremendous amount of interest in terms of increasing what they are doing in our community and better understanding our community. I had an opportunity to provide a variety of information, including our strategic plan, the Aboriginal Accord report from June 2014, and as well as some of the other documents specifically related to Tedwig and some of the community initiatives that are taking place in this community, including some of the work being done by volunteer groups such as seniors, Spirit Way, Aboriginal Arts Center, Wolf Enclosure, and things like that. there was a real interest. I think that they indicated to me some of the challenges that they're having with respect to workforce and the need for us to address housing and some of the incorrect perceptions that many have of our community. I think they were absolutely impressed with some of the great things that are happening here, which we unfortunately don't promote enough, although they were very familiar with many of them. In addition, on September 17th, before I caught the plane, I attended the Aboriginal Accord quarterly stakeholders meeting, and I was very pleased to see the turnout from government organizations as well as corporations. And there is no doubt, and I encourage and I hope that the Aboriginal Accord and the stakeholder meetings will continue into the future. I think it's provided real benefits and opportunities for the city of Thompson, and that's proven by some of the initiatives. And quite frankly, how well we are recognized for the work that has been done on fostering positive relationships with Aboriginal and surrounding communities, including, I might add, because apparently there's an election coming, that one of the candidates in Winnipeg for mayor actually indicated that should she be elected, she would be pursuing an Aboriginal Accord similar to the city of Thompson, which I found very interesting. On September the 18th, upon returning from Winnipeg, I did have the event, or the opportunity to attend two events. The first was a great event, and that was the sod turning for the new DSFM school here in Thompson. I was joined by Councillor Robinson and City Manager Sepatelli. It was an excellent opportunity. What was really great is I had a chance to sit with the representatives coming up on the plane, and we had some real good conversations. And I'm not sure if people fully recognize or understand the absolute significance of the province of Manitoba committing to the development and building of a French school in our community. And I tell you, this is something that every Thompsonite should be proud of, because this puts us on the same stage and level of any other major community in this country. And it provides opportunity for our residents to be educated in the school and the language of choice. And that is a tremendous asset that we have in terms of promoting the community. So I was very pleased to attend that event, and I thanked the province, and Minister Allen was here, who is a tremendous supporter of our community, as well as the board and the staff, the parents, and most importantly, the children. Despite how gray and overcast, the smiles brightened up the day. Later on that afternoon, we had a chance to attend the dog park grand opening. And boy, it doesn't sound as great as I think it is. Again, this is huge. This took us years. One would think, you know, dog park shouldn't be that complicated, but this took us years to get done. I want to thank Councillor Hogan, who was a strong proponent of this thing when she was chair of REC, Councillor Byer when you were REC, and we're finally there. We opened it. I know there's still some glitches. We got some work to do on some of the fencing. But it's great to see, and I've heard nothing but positive comments from parents that are taking their I was going to say their children. For many, their animals are their children. Their pets to the facility. I want to thank Recreation for the work that you've done in terms of getting the facility ready. And again, I think it's a good news story. So those are some of the meetings. I do want to mention a couple things. First is that I can't tell you how pleased I was to hear the absolute phenomenal news that came out late last Monday evening that the United Steelworkers and Valley had reached a 5-year agreement for this community. This is absolutely what Thompson, Northern Manitoba, and indeed Manitoba needed to see coming out of the north. This provides stability in this community for 5 years. It provides us that economic base to build on. And despite how many times I say I'm frustrated when I go down south and all I hear about is people talking about the mining industry and we need to expand that, we all have to recognize that's the driver. So this is great news. I want to thank the negotiating teams for the United Steelworkers and for Valley. I really want to acknowledge the tremendous leadership and commitment to their organization and to the community of Lovro Pollock representing Valley and Murray Nichaporik from the United Steelworkers. I've had a chance to work with these guys since the 2010 announcement about the decommissioning, They have done nothing but provide leadership and talk about the future of this community and how we have to build a strong community for them to succeed. They delivered it in this agreement. I want to thank them. I want to thank the members who voted in favor. And this is a tremendous opportunity to move forward and build on that. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I know I've been hearing a lot of concerns about the capital work and the completion of that capital work. I can tell you that, and I'm very careful with my words now, the anticipated date that the company that will complete the asphalting is September the 24th. That would be Wednesday. So we anticipate they will be here. We anticipate it will take between 5 and 7 days. We have a limited window for them to do the work. That is one of the reasons we had to prepare the sites for that work. I've heard a number of concerns regarding the potholes in and around where we've taken out asphalt. I understand that. I fully appreciate the patience of the public and the frustration of the public. In some of those sites, we've had to work with the contractors to ensure that they were smoothed over. Some of those were our responsibility. We were challenged by some of the rainfalls. However, City Council, administration has endeavored to try and address those when concerns were raised. In terms of the work, as I said, please take note in and around the crews once they arrive. And my last comment on this is that the crew coming into Thompson has been delayed because of weather in southern Manitoba, and I've been traveling an awful lot over the last 2 months, and I'll tell you this, anyone who drives down number 6 highway and takes a look at the farmers' fields will understand why they weren't putting asphalt down in southern Manitoba, because the rain experience in southern Manitoba has been amazing. However, they're working through it. We anticipate them here this week. And the last one is, we are still within the time frame as planned by council and administration to complete the work. So that's a bit of an update. Again, please take note and caution around the sites. The last one is, I've been out of town a fair bit, but apparently there's an election coming. And that election is going to be October the 22nd. I want to say the deadline for nominations closed last week. I want to thank every one of those individuals that had the courage to put their name forward in the name of democracy. I thank them for that, because that is about leadership, and that is about the true sense of expressing a desire to work on behalf of your community. So thank you to all those. I also want to thank all those that chose not to put their name forward, that have served previously, whether it was on city council or school trustee. Because I know it's a difficult decision, and I respect that decision, but I want to acknowledge people for doing it. And the last comment I'll make is, I wish everyone the best. City Hall is not for campaigning. The council chamber is not for campaigning. I encourage everyone to get out, do what they need to do. I encourage residents to ask lots of questions. But here's the line I used on my radio show. The most important thing residents can do in this community is show up on October the 22nd and vote. And my specific line was, here's your chance to put up or shut up. Because quite frankly, democracy is built around getting people out. And it's amazing. I've just read stories in this world where people are fighting and killing each other for the opportunity to participate in democracy. I'll remind people, our last turnout at the municipal election was less than 45%. There are some countries that are right now considering mandatory voting. I would hope that people care enough about their community. I don't care who you come out and vote for, but you need to come out and vote. So that's my rant. I wish everyone the best. That's the last you're going to hear from me in this chamber, as I hope from anyone on the campaign trail. With that being said, I know that I have been out of town a fair bit, so I know people have attended a number of events on behalf of the City of Thompson. I'm going to ask that they, if there's anything people want to add, that they do so. Councillor Robinson.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. I attended also the DFSM, and it's a proud moment for the community to have a French language and culture provided to every citizen of this community. It doesn't have to be French speaking also. It can be anybody can join French school. Also, I'd like to thank Murray and Mark Scott, which spearheaded the negotiations for the contract. So hats off, go off to Mark and Murray. Also, the agreement also is in light of the federal government has granted an extension to 2018 for emissions. So that's good news for the community also. Also, I attended a Walk a Mile in Their Shoes on behalf of all the male of our council. And I humbled before all the ladies, amongst all the other men that were there. And it's very enlightening to know what it's about, and the fact that my hat goes off to you ladies who wear high heels. It's torture. I don't know why you do it, but you do it. So I applaud you for it. The youngest member of the walk was 1 year old, was Says Dorothy's son, and he did walk. He walked half a block. Has to go off to him. We raised just over $7,000, and there was 52 walkers that day. The Norman hockey team was there in bright colors, including the red on their feet. And I also attended the post office rally, we would call it, with Councillor Byer and Councillor Collada. It was very enlightening to see some of the concerns that are out there. There are a lot of valid concerns out there that people have a right to voice. And you're right about, people need to go to the polls, put up or shut up. Yes, thank you.
Councillor Byer.
Okay, a couple things. On September the 11th, I attended the 9/11 service. Excuse me. It was a very moving service, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to be there and attend. It was to not just pay tribute to the people who lost their lives in the 9/11 incident. It was also to show our support and respect for the people who continue to serve in those capacities as firefighters, EMS, heliTAC, mine rescue, any of those occupations where people put their life on the line to save other people's lives and their property. We have, I think, among the best in our camp here, and John Mascarene and your crew, please pass that along again. The town hall meeting on the Canadian that was hosted by Nikki Ashton and the Canadian Union of Postal Workers yesterday attracted about 60 people. Actually, it was a very good crowd attending, and Councillors Clada and Robinson were there. We were asked to be panelists to speak on the municipal aspects of Canada Post wanting to eliminate door-to-door mail delivery and go with the community drop boxes. The other panelists, Nikki Ashton via a web message, Gord Fisher, who is the National Director from the Prairie Division of CUP W, our MLA Steve Ashton, and Christopher Blake from People First was there, and myself. So what I did is I let people know that the city has basically two concerns. We have a corporate concern, and I read our resolution from March 31st that supported the Canadian Federation of Municipalities in asking Canada Post to maintain door-to-door residential service until there has been a consultation process. And then I also outlined what FCM's principles are for that community consultation, and I think it's important that people know. It's got to be meaningful consultations based on land use planning, service delivery, right-of-way management, and there cannot be a one-size-fits-all approach because each community is unique. Also, partnerships to make sure that municipalities do not inherit the cost of maintaining these federally owned community mailboxes. The term is called downloading. It seems municipalities are always having costs downloaded from federal and provincial governments, and so we want to make sure that doesn't happen. And also, another one of the principles is congruence with municipal planning to make sure that any changes in the mail delivery align with our local strategies. As I said, there's about 60 people there. There were some common themes, of course. People wanting the consultation process was one. A community that has people or residents with mobility and disability concerns. Christopher Blake pointed out that 1 in 6 people will have some kind of mobility issue, either from birth or accident, whatever. And the other thing is, in Thompson, between our last 2 censuses, our population of people aged 55 and older increased by 12.5%. That speaks to a population that is maturing in Thompson, but with it comes aging in place issues, of course. Another common theme was, and I hadn't thought of this one myself, but mail carriers are often the first set of eyes for health and safety issues. They notice when the mail hasn't been picked up. And there are several situations or circumstances rather where mail carriers have reported this, knowing that somebody's home but that the mail hasn't been picked up, and indeed there has been people who have been lying in distress for X period of time. Things like, whose property will these mailboxes sit on? Will it be municipal land? If there's no municipal land, will it be on people's personal property? How will it affect property values? Who will pick up the garbage as people empty their community mailboxes and decide they don't want the junk mail and then just drop it? An awful lot of these questions came up, and strongly urging people to write to Minister Waite, and we do have in Ottawa. She's the minister responsible for Canada Post. One comment that came out of the group that I would like to bring forward here. A lady asked if we have a united voice from the north speaking to this issue, seeing as we do have remote and isolated communities and other concerns. So I said that I would bring that to council and suggest perhaps, Mayor Johnson, that it go to the Manitoba or Northern Manitoba Roundtable for discussion to make a united north. So sorry for being so long on that, but it was an extremely educational and thought-provoking town hall meeting that was called. So,
thank you. Councillor Frenier?
Thank you. I just want to touch on a few meetings and one event that I was able to go to. I was also at the Aboriginal Accord meeting, and I just want to note that I was really pleased with the partners and their desire to want to educate the new mayor and council that come in and develop those relationships early and speak to the importance to the community about that document, not just as a plaque or something that's stagnant, but rather a document that lives within the city of Thompson and within every partner that has signed on, whether they're a signatory or someone who's joined later on. We also I represented the city at the Thompson Urban Aboriginal Strategy, the Thompson Recycle Center Board, and the Thompson Housing Agency in the last couple weeks. As well, I just want to touch on, I did attend the Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. I don't think we were gender-based, but I was representing all of Mayor and Council, I believe. We did have a walker there, as he said. But the real purpose of it, as much as it's about humor and having a few laughs about seeing men walk in high heels and get blisters and whine and, you know, all the great things that happen, it's really about raising awareness about stopping violence against women and girls. And they cited many incidents that, you know, we're seeing in the media more, whether it's the NFL, excuse me, or colleges and universities in the States and within Canada who are holding campaigns to oppose anti-rape laws on their campuses. So there's a lot of, you know, kind of uglier things happening in the world, and it's really raising awareness about ensuring those kinds of things don't happen here and to try and stop them across Canada and the world. So just to remind, you know, men and women, but mainly men, to, you know, keep their homes safe. Women are at most risk in their homes with domestic violence, so really, you know, support the people you see out there. You know, don't do it in your homes, and, you know, protect the women and girls in our community. So there was 54 walkers and $7,500 raised, so I just want to congratulate everybody who was brave enough to get out there and attend and raise awareness for Walk a Mile in Her Shoes and stopping violence against women and girls.
Thank you. Any further comments from members of council regarding any events they may have attended? Seeing none, thank you very much. I'm going to motion to adjourn. Councillor Hogan, we stand adjourned. All in favor? I didn't think anyone would oppose that. Seconder, Councillor Byer. Sorry. We stand adjourned. We're going to go to question period 3 times. Anyone in the audience want to ask a question? First time. Second time, sun's gone down. There's not much you're going to do outside, so we got lots of time for questions. Nothing on second.